it feels like there's a lot of doom and gloom circulating around Los Angeles. It's very odd for a team that just 2 years ago was in the Super Bowl. I guess my question for you would be in regards to the Rams. Are they trending in the wrong direction to the point that maybe their window is closing here? Or do you expect a bounce back season from Jared Goff and company?
I think they're trending in the wrong direction for a couple of reasons. To me, there's two reasons that they fell off. When they went to the Super Bowl, one, Jared Goff was cheap. He was one of these young quarterbacks on a rookie deal. Now he's making $35 million a year, 15% of their cap. He's not that good. I mean, he's like a top 15 quarterback at best. And if you're paying a guy who's like, a B quarterback, A+ money, you're screwed right there, because now you got to sacrifice your offensive line. I mean, they had to get rid of their center, their left guard, Ndamukong Suh, a bunch of guys, just so you could pay some mediocre to, above average quarterback like he's elite. That's a big problem, especially when you got in Arizona, Kyler Murray, who's even more physically talented, making nothing, $5 million a year. So that's part of it. The other thing, I think Sean McVay might be a little bit of a gimmick coach. Like one of these guys, like before him, the guys who profited off of the RPO. I mean, Matt Nagy, for example, that was really giving people problems back in 2017. Not anymore. They figured it out. And when McVay was in the Super Bowl, the issue with him was that jet sweep motion. He would just send someone across the line sprinting as fast as he could. It's like a 10-yard sprint, and defenses would freak out. They wouldn't know, do I get that guy or the running back? And you would get these huge holes in the line, basically blocking people without a fullback. It's like a ghost blocker. And it was great. I mean, they were averaging 5 yards a carry with whoever, Todd Gurley, CJ Anderson. And then Bill Belichick had the brilliant 6-2 defense in the Super Bowl with the overhang players to take away the jet sweep. And this pretty much showed, like, if you can take away the threat of the jet sweep, you can take away that entire running game, which was the basis of the Rams offense to begin with. And that's what people did. And now it seems like he's out of tricks. Like, Kyle Shanahan's a real football coach who can constantly evolve his run game. And it seemed like Sean McVay had a very simple run game that relied on one little trick, and it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, you gave me a lot to unpack there. I tell you, I think you're 100% on point. I think that the defenses in the NFL, no matter how gimmicky your offense is, they're going to catch up with it. And we've seen it through the history of the NFL. I think we're seeing it play out right in front of our face for Sean McVay. And over in Baltimore, I think people are going to figure out what the Baltimore Ravens are doing, and they're going to punch them in the mouth too. So one of my biggest criticisms of NFL franchises is the misevaluation of their own quarterback and then the mishandling of that quarterback situation. I feel like you're seeing it play out right in front of your very eyes in Los Angeles. Jared Goff, you said a B quarterback. I'd probably go as far as saying a C quarterback. I'm not a Jared Goff guy at all. I don't mind being critical of it and being real about it. And to pay him that kind of money, that's the kind of move that sets your franchise back, and that's what you're seeing play out again since the Super Bowl. Nothing really has gone the Rams' direction or way since they made the Super Bowl and since they made the contract extension for Jared Goff.
Yeah, I mean, they would be better off right now had they traded him instead of extended him and just signing anyone, Colin Kaepernick, Andy Dalton, anyone cheap. That way they could keep Ndamukong Suh and that super team that they had assembled. It was kind of an all-star team because they weren't paying for their quarterback. And I feel like there's always going to be 2 or 3 all-star teams in the NFL as long as this rookie wage pay scale loophole exists. Like right now, it's the Chiefs for 1 more year and the Ravens for 2 more years. How do you compete with the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes is making 2% of their cap, or the Ravens when Lamar Jackson is making 1% of their cap? You don't, because their quarterback's just as good as yours, but they have like a way better supporting cast. And I think teams always felt like, well, you got to pay your quarterback $35 million a year because he'll elevate the supporting cast. I think it's more likely that a great supporting cast elevates a quarterback, and you can win a Super Bowl with a guy like Nick Foles, who isn't special, if the rest of your team is.
Well, we went into detail about this last night on the podcast. And again, if you have that guy and you have a Patrick Mahomes, I don't mind you paying Patrick Mahomes because he's Patrick Mahomes. And he's the kind of guy I believe can elevate players around him. But Jared Goff is not Patrick Mahomes. We can see that from 4,000 miles away in our living rooms. The franchise has to be able to see that. They have to be able to look at it and be real about it and say, you know what, this guy is good, but McVay is masking a lot of his flaws. How far can we really go with consistency with this quarterback and be real about it? But I think teams are afraid to make that transition or switch because, oh, there's going to be a lot of backlash and people don't like us trading our quarterback or going another direction. When in actuality, to your point, they'd be much better off going another direction.
Well, when you pay the quarterback, you get organizational stability. Like the Seahawks are great because they have Russell Wilson. So they're going to win 10 games every year. They're going to sell out their stadium. No one's going to get fired. Pete Carroll has job security. The GM has job security, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. They haven't been serious Super Bowl contenders since Russell Wilson was making $400,000 a year. And so when you say Patrick Mahomes is worth it, we'll see. We'll see. I'm of the belief that no quarterback is worth more than 12% of the cap, because you could have arguably the greatest quarterback of all time or in the running, and another team can have a guy who's not far off making a third of what he's making, a tenth of what he's making, and you're just in a really tough spot. You know, I mean, like Aaron Rodgers only won one Super Bowl because he's been expensive. You know, Russell Wilson only won one Super Bowl, been expensive. So I think if Bill Belichick can win another Super Bowl with Jared Stidham, or if Sean Payton can have success after Breeze leaves with a platoon of Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, teams are going to start rethinking, like, should we really be spending all this money on quarterbacks? Because there's no evidence that that's the best blueprint for winning a Super Bowl.